Now, when you have a season like the Houston Rockets, you finish second seed in the Western Conference, you win 50-plus games on the season, and you have a roster full of young talent. You're trying to build on that. You're trying to make your roster better. And we talked about this not too long ago. We made a couple videos talking about the Houston Rockets going after guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, going after other NBA stars. And I wanted them to do that. I thought the Houston Rockets were past that phase of looking for talent in the lottery because they were blessed with the number 10 overall pick in this year's NBA draft. And we talked about how they're probably going to package that number 10 pick with some of the young players on their team to bring in a new, fresh talent. And that's what they did today. I had to come in, man. I had a very long night last night. And then as soon as I got comfortable, I laid down, I opened a TikTok, and it says, Kevin Durant is now a Houston Rocket. So I look into the trade and see who the Houston Rockets put in this deal to land somebody like Kevin Durant. And I'm not going to lie, I was very nervous because, as you guys know, over the last couple of weeks, the last couple of videos I made on the Houston Rockets, I said do not touch nobody in this young core, specifically Jalen Green, or I should say not specifically, but emphasis on Jalen Green and emphasis on Alperen Sengun. Do not touch those two guys. And when I look at the trade, I see the Houston Rockets. They've sent Kevin Durant they sent Jalen Green, the number 10 overall pick, Dylan Brooks, to the Phoenix Suns in exchange for Kevin Durant. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have so many mixed emotions about this trade because I've been watching the Rockets closely for a bunch of years, and putting Kevin Durant with the group of guys that they got right now, it is so lovely. I think it's such a snug fit. But when it comes to a player like Jalen Green, who's just 22, I think he turns 23 years of age this season. He is so young, and I thought he had so much promise. But I'm looking at this and I'm weighing it, and I'm not sure I'm the biggest fan. It's like the first time I disagree with anything the Houston Rockets front office has did over the last three and a half years, and it's not something that's crazy. No, I'm not going to lie. It is something that's crazy because let's look at it. Okay, we have Kevin Durant and we have Jalen Green and we have the number 10 overall pick. Those are the three heavy hitters in this trade. And no disrespect to Dylan Brooks because he came to this team and he helped set the culture that they have in place right now, and I love him on the Houston Rockets. When we look at when we look at the number 10 overall pick and we look at Jalen Green and we compare that to Kevin Durant. Now, Kevin Durant is coming off a terrific season. Another season flirting with a 50-40-90. We know he's the efficiency god in the game of basketball. But when we look at KD, he's 36 years of age. He's turning 37 this year, and he just does not stay on the court. That's the number one thing that I'm looking at right now. You got Kevin Durant. Yes, he's a walking bucket. He's a offensive juggernaut. He's going to be that half-court offense that your team desperately showed that they needed in the postseason last year. But he's 36 years of age, and he's very, very fragile. He's very fragile, and he's very injury prone. So that's just like the biggest thing for me right now, because when we look at the two counterparts, specifically when we look at Jalen Green is a guy that's been on the basketball court consistently since he's come into the NBA. He doesn't miss time on the basketball. He's a very available, healthy young basketball player, and it's not like Jalen Green is just some scrub. And I know when the lights were shining the brightest in that series against the Oklahoma City Thunder, Jalen Green, he did not produce the way that we thought he did. And we're not going to jump into that right now, but there's a bunch of reasons. There's a bunch of basketball reasons that we can jump into to why Jalen Green did not perform the way he should have. But at the end of the day, it did look like he was crumbling under the pressure. But then again, we got to look at it. This is second time playing competitive basketball. His second year playing competitive basketball. The Houston Rockets, they didn't make the playoffs last season, but they had a damn good shot of making the number 10 spot for that final spot in the play-in tournament. They were playing for something. So this is second year playing competitive basketball, his first time getting into the NBA playoffs, and he had a hiccup. And I'm not the type of person to, if it's his first time, I don't think you should boot him out like that, especially when Jalen Green has showed the type of promise, showed the type of potential, the type of athleticism during his tenure with the Houston Rockets. Now, this would be a different thing if Jalen Green is 25, 26 years of old, 25, 26 years of age, and we're looking at it in this 3 straight playoff series where he performed, the way he just performed against the Golden State Warriors. Now, that would be understandable, but I just think this is such a huge risk. Unless you can bank on KD playing another 4 to 5 years of outstanding basketball, then it won't be that big of a risk. But just looking at his track record over these last few years, he's not on the court consistently. He has those little injuries where he missed 1 to 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks at a time, and it could really hurt the team. So that's what I'm really worried about with this trade with the Houston Rockets. But other than that, I'm not going to lie, I'm still going to be very excited to watch the new Houston Rockets. I think this is going to be a very, very fantastic ball team. Just because I don't agree with what they did does not mean I don't see how big time this move can be. And I think the way that this roster is constructed, the Houston Rockets, they definitely are going to have a chance to win a championship, because now they still, I'm not going to say they didn't give up their best defender. They gave up one of their best defenders in Dillon Brooks, but they have so many guys that can defend just as good as him or better than him on that wing position. When we look at a Jabari Smith Jr., when we look at a Amen Thompson, oh my God, Amen Thompson and Kevin Durant on the same basketball team, that is about to be so filthy. When we look at a Tari Eason, when we look at a Fred VanVleet, we look at a Cam Whitmore, the Houston Rockets, they still have perimeter defenders all over they still have the perimeter defenders all over the place. They still have Alperen Sengun, so they're going to have a big that they can get in that 2-man game with. They're going to have a big man that they can feed in the post. And then also, we look at what they're adding. They're adding Kevin Durant. And if all goes well for the Houston Rockets and you get the ultimate weapon in Kevin Durant and you have him in Ime Udoka's system. Now, the only weakness I've ever seen Kevin Durant display is when his team is not physical. When he's not playing on the physical team, it's really easy to beat up on KD and physical him up. I don't see that happening on the Houston Rockets with all these athletes and with Steven Adams on the team and Alperen Sengun and Jabari Smith Jr. and Tari Eason. Oh my God. Thinking about it, like I said, it's not something that I blame the Houston Rockets for doing. I definitely understand it. It's just the future. The future is what I'm worried about. It's like one bad injury away from this age. It could change it all. And then, you can never know. Only time will tell how good Jalen Green is going to become. And pairing him with a guy like Devin Booker, that's also going to be some very fun basketball to watch. But, this is honestly all, kind of crazy. Because like I said, I started doing YouTube right around that draft class when Cade Cunningham was coming in, when Jalen Green was coming in, Evan Mobley, all these guys. So to see him get moved like this, man, it got me a little emotional. But I just didn't see it coming so soon. But it definitely is gonna make next season more interesting. And I said this, and I've been seeing people say this, that this offseason is gonna be nuts, because we look at this NBA draft lottery. There's so many teams that's in the draft lottery that are considered to be, teams competing for a championship. When we look at the Dallas Mavericks with the number 1 overall pick, we look at the Spurs and the Philadelphia 76ers. They're also in the draft lottery. So I think we're going to be seeing more trades flying all over the place. But like I said, this one right here, man, this one definitely shocked me. I'm leaning towards they should have tried to keep Jalen Green and maybe include one of their other young pieces. If you guys don't remember in that last video, that's what I was pushing for the Houston Rockets to do. I'm surprised that the Phoenix Suns was able to get Jalen Green out of this deal, because you're looking at the Phoenix Suns, they're loving this. They're dumping off an older player who had a terrific season, but it didn't lead to them getting into the playoffs. And now they get another young, fresh, like Jalen Green is 22, 23 years of age. I watched him go 10, 11 games, averaging 30 points, doing it efficiently. Like the potential is in him. So for him to be 22 years of age and displaying that type of stuff, and him to get shipped out after his first bad playoff run, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the Houston Rockets. They got to win a championship in the next 2 seasons, and I definitely think it's possible, man. You get Kevin Durant in a system like this around all these defenders, you're not going to be able to keep keep putting your physicality on him, because he's going to have those rough riders with him as well, man. Damn, we got the last game of the season today. It's going to be a long time before we get to see some more basketball, but I'm going to be so excited watching the Houston Rockets next season. I think they're going to be I think they're going to be box office. I think Amen Thompson, he's going to take a huge step. Kevin Durant, he's the type of guy, if you get him around the right players and you put him on that basketball court, he's definitely going to make everybody better. We just have to hope that Kevin Durant, that he stays healthy with his tenure in the Houston Rockets. So that's what I want to talk about with you guys today, man. I went out last night, haven't got no sleep yet. So I'm telling you, I got under the blankets. I was about to fall asleep. I opened a TikTok, and it said Kevin Durant is on the Houston Rockets. I said, man, this got to be cap. And man, I opened up the score. That's my, my source for breaking news, and KD is a Rocket. So you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section. Is this a W or an L trade for the Houston Rockets? It took me a minute, man, but I don't know. I guess only time will tell for real. But I thought they should have gave Jalen Green one more season. But please leave a like, comment down below, and then subscribe. We do this all the time, man. And that's curtains.